April 23rd meeting of the Oceanside City Council. Mr. Varro, could you please call roll?
Mayor Sanchez.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Joyce.
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa.
Present.
Councilmember Robinson. Councilmember Weiss.
Thank you. I would like to start by saying that changes with respect to the agenda. We do have one change, and that is item number 25 has been continued to May 21st. So if you are on item number 25, it's been continued, so we're not going to be hearing it tonight.
24 has been pulled as well.
Wait, hold on. Okay, and also another change, item number 24 has also been pulled. Item number 24. And these items that I'm calling are items that are, they're called public hearings, time certain at 6 o'clock. And so I'm letting you know now, just in case you're here for one of those two items, item number 24 and item number 25. All right? So please stand for the invocation. And tonight we have Father William Kernan, pastor, St. Margaret's Parish. Father Kernan?
From the first letter of Peter. Because of the Lord, be obedient to every human institution, whether to the emperor as sovereign or to the governors he commissions for the punishment of criminals and the recognition of the upright. Such obedience is the will of God. You must silence the ignorant talk of foolish men by your good behavior. Live as free men and women, but do not use your freedom as a cloak for vice. In a word, live as servants of God. You must esteem the person of every man. Foster love for the brothers and sisters, reverence for God, respect for the emperor. And so, Almighty Creator of heaven and earth, things visible and invisible, we ask you to be with us tonight, to guide all the deliberations, to bestow upon all who are in attendance the virtues of wisdom and fortitude, temperance, and justice, faith, hope, and love. Send a spirit of right judgment and understanding, of compassion and knowledge upon all who speak this night. And we ask all this in great humility and gratitude for all the blessings that you have bestowed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Please remain standing, and would one of the, would our Queen please come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Oceanside Queen. Miss Oceanside.
We pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. You're all queens in my book, okay? I'd like to read the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Payom Kawichim, the people of the West, as the traditional land caretakers of the land on which Oceanside is built and its surrounding traditional cultural landscapes. Today, the Payom Kawichim are known as Liseño and are made up of 7 bands: La Jolla, Palapama, Pechanga, Rincon, San Luis Rey, and Saboba. We are mindful of the indigenous people in this place, and we pay our respects to the Liseño, past, present, and emerging. We are grateful to have the opportunity to be part of this community in Luiseño territory and to honor their history, culture, and perseverance of spirit. Thank you. And now we have proclamations and presentations. Thank you. This is the fun part, and you saw that we have royalty in the house, right? Royalty in the house. And so the first proclamation that I'd like to read is proclamation in honor of National Fair Housing Month 2025. And today we have Jared Hernandez, the new executive director for CSA, and he's going to let us know what that's all about, and as well as Raquel Hernandez, his assistant. Come on up, please. I'll shake it in a minute. All right, I'm going to read this proclamation, and then I will hand you the mic. All right, thank you. Whereas April 2025 marks the 57th anniversary of the passage of the Federal Fair Housing Act, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 as amended, which enunciates a national commitment to fair housing without regard to race, color, religion, gender, national origin, familial status, and disability. And whereas the Fair Housing Act was signed on April 11th, 1968, just 1 week after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And whereas the California Fair Employment and Housing Act of 1963, as amended, offers additional protections for fair housing without regard to marital status, age, source of income, sexual orientation, medical condition, gender identity, source of income, and other arbitrary status. And whereas the City of Oceanside, in partnership with CSA San Diego County, Inc., is committed to federal and state fair housing laws by continuing to address discrimination in our community, supporting programs that will educate the public about the right to equal housing opportunities, and implementing partnership efforts with other organizations to help assure every American of his or her right to fair housing. And whereas Fair Housing Month has helped open doors of opportunity for countless families since its passage, making significant progress in achieving equal housing access for all individuals. And whereas the City of Oceanside acknowledges the efforts of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, and countless other state agencies, local governments, and community members for promoting fair housing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Sanchez, on behalf of the City of Oceanside, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as National Fair Housing Month in the City of Oceanside, and encourage all Oceanside residents to become more aware of their rights and responsibilities within our community.
Thank you, Mayor Sanchez and council members. We really do appreciate the invitation here to Oceanside. We're happy to be here. So yes, I did take over as the executive director of CSA San Diego. What we do is we provide mediation and counseling services to all Oceanside residents. So if you ever run across a problem that has to do with housing as a tenant or a landlord, just give our office a call and we do our best to remedy the issue. And I do appreciate the proclamation because it does do a small part to bring awareness to this issue. A lot of people think that, discrimination is a thing of the past, but discrimination is still apparent. It might not be as blatant as before, but it still happens in our communities. And we are happy to continue to service Oceanside through our counseling, mediation, and outreach events for the rest of this year. And I just want to end with a quick shout out to Raquel, who is out here in Oceanside as Oceanside's counselor. It truly is a team effort. So thank you very much.
Office hours?
You can see me in the Chavez Resource Center Monday through Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. I'm also at the Libby Lake Resource Centers on Thursday, same hours. You see my face, so you can go in person, give us a call, and reach out.
And in Spanish too, right?
Y también tenemos servicios en español, y yo hablo español, y también we also have someone who speaks Arabic, también tenemos alguien que habla el lenguaje de árabe. Si nos llamas, le podemos ayudar, o si quieres saber más de sus derechos como inquilino o sus derechos de la vivienda justa.
One last thing, we do have a fair housing presentation this Saturday, the 26th, from 10 to 11:30. It is a virtual event, and everybody's welcome to attend. I'm more than happy to share the link for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and here you go. Thank you so much. This is a, we're going to have a picture, but this is a contract that the council entered into. It's been about a year, right? And I understand that you're very, very busy. Well, I mean, I guess you don't know this, but you're very, very busy. And so it's been a real blessing to have this partnership with CSA to ensure, and there are a lot of folks who come in and need help, and you're able to help them. So it's really fantastic. And I'm sure that we could do more, right? Of course. Okay, great. Just wanted to ask that question, right? Well, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and do a picture. Oh, with the council? Sorry. Yeah, and welcome to Oceanside. By the way, he said he's from the Imperial Valley. From El Centro, so got to show him that Oceanside is the place to be, right? Oh, Raquel is from Oceanside, so there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, welcome. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you. So next up, as I said, royalties in the house. Can we please have Miss Oceanside and her court, and Miss Teen Oceanside and her court. Come on up. Pam Pankey from Oceanside Sea Lions. Yeah. So after I do the proclamation, shall I hand it to you and then or do you want me to do it to hand it to Miss Oceanside?
As far as the proclamation, I think I get passed on.
To speak. To speak. To say a few words. Okay, great. This is a time-honored tradition here in Oceanside. I don't know how many of you have been here for like a long time. I actually had a friend who was born and raised in Oceanside, whose mom was Miss Oceanside, I think in the 50s. So this is a very, very long, long history in Oceanside. And who knows, maybe back then it was at the band shell? Yeah, so the catwalk over there, right? This is a proclamation in honor of 2024-2025 Miss Oceanside, Miss Teen Oceanside, and their princesses. Miss Oceanside is Shawnice Walker. Her princesses are Linda Thompson, Andrea Barba, and Ella Storer. We also have Miss Teen Oceanside, Ashlyn Gerard, and her princesses are Adriana Milan Solario, Jade Lee, and Annika Lugo Groening. Whereas the Oceanside Sea Lions was chartered in 1968 and established the Miss Oceanside and Miss Teen Oceanside Scholarship Pageant in 1981. And whereas Miss Oceanside and Miss Teen Oceanside and their princesses attend El Camino High School, Oceanside High School, Mission Vista High School, and Maricosta College. And whereas they are very involved in community service and have attended numerous events, and I'm sure you've seen them all over the city this past year. And these events include Oceanside Chamber of Commerce business mixers, ribbon cutting ceremonies for new businesses, anniversaries, Armed Forces Military Appreciation Day, Oceanside Turkey Trot, Oceanside Film Festival, Oceanside Sea Lions Bowl for the blind, golf tournament fundraiser for Rady Children's Hospital for Childhood Cancer, KOCT celebration, and other city events. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Sanchez, on behalf of the City of Oceanside, do hereby proclaim our city's sincere appreciation to Miss Oceanside, Miss Teen Oceanside, and their princesses for their volunteer efforts on behalf of our community, and gratefully thank them for representing our city this past year as phenomenal ambassadors of the City of Oceanside. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Suzette is over here. Suzette has been very, very active in their training, and you see how poised they are. She's very good at doing this. How long have you been doing this, Suzette?
I've been a member since 1995.
1995.
I was in charge since 2002. I think she took over 2 years ago.
Let's just say this is something that there's a lot of members of Oceanside Sea Lions, and this is just something that is just so much more special. So I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic to you, Pam.
Okay, the Oceanside Sea Lions have been doing this pageant since 1981, 43 years now. We missed only 1 year during the pandemic. Miss Oceanside has been going on way before that. We have record of Miss Oceanside from 1947 and 1948. And Barbara Mandrell was Miss Oceanside in 1968. Basically, this is one of our fundraisers. The Lions Club is part of Lions International with over 1.4 million members worldwide. And all of the things that we do basically go to charity. With this, we do scholarships for the pageant, and I'll have Belle explain a little bit more about our mission real quick. But anyway, we'd love to have you come to the pageant May 10th at the Star Theater, 6 o'clock.
May 10, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Firstly, thank you very much for the opportunity for us to present our Miss Oceanside, Miss Teen Oceanside, and their court. Just to let you know, my name is Belle. I'm the president of the Oceanside Sea Lions Club. We are one of the 49,000 clubs worldwide. As you may know, Lions International is the biggest service organization in the world, having over about 1.4 million. Now, our mission, we have 5 or 6, and that would be sight, hunger, child cancer, and we have diabetes and environment. So all these projects that we have, and one of them is this scholarship program, goes into this mission of the Lions Club. So again, thank you very much, and I would like to pass the mic so they could introduce themselves. Here, our directors.
I'm not known at all. My name is Seth Lomabas. I'm the pageant chair. I've been involved with the pageant since 1995, just a small one. My first assignment was to sell coffee. Anyway, my name is Seth Lomabas. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Bong Reyes. I'm a member of this club, Oceanside Sea Lions Club. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Carlson, and I am one of the Sea Lions members as well.
Okay.
And a former Miss Oceanside princess as well. Thank you.
The girls too.
Yeah, the girls.
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Annika Lugo. I'm 17 years old, and I'm currently going to Oceanside High School. And this pageant has been a really amazing thing for me. I tried out 2 years ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it, but then this year I was able to, and it's been such a blessing. I met so many amazing girls, and we've all just become the best of friends. And the different kinds of things that we do around the city, it kind of like embraces us to step out and, get out of our comfort zone and talk to other people and learn new things and just be there for the community. So I'm very happy to be here right now. Thank you, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adriana Milan Solorio. I'm a 16-year-old sophomore at El Camino High School, and I am so incredibly grateful and blessed for this opportunity. I received this opportunity as well back in 2023, and I can just say that this experience has been life-changing. I've met so many amazing people. I have worked with so many people, and I'm so incredibly grateful for everything that Pam has done for me and all these other girls by teaching us everything when it comes to poise and how to speak and how to handle ourselves. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jada Lee. I'm 17 and a junior at Mission Vista High School. This is my first year in pageantry, and I'm very thankful for the title of a Miss Teen Oceanside Princess. I'd like to thank Miss Pam and Elizabeth for being our guardians, for guiding us to become beautiful and amazing ambassadors of the city of Oceanside. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ashlyn Gerard, and I'm a 17-year-old senior at El Camino High School. To keep it short and sweet, it took me 3 years to get into the position I am now. I am now proudly holding the position of Miss Teen Oceanside, and like everybody else, it has been such a blessing, and I am very thankful to be here, and I'm very grateful to be able to give back to the community that raised me.
Hi, my name is Linda Thompson. I'm a student at Maricosta, getting my associates there next month. And yeah, I'm very grateful that I got to meet all these lovely girls, and I grew up in Oceanside, so it's been really nice to be able to see the community more and go to places I haven't been, and it's been lovely.
Hello, everybody. My name's Andrea Barba. I'm 24 years old, and I've been doing this pageant for 5 years now, and I'm very grateful to be in it. It's been an amazing experience, and I want to thank Pam and Elizabeth for everything they've done for the pageant, for us girls, and yes, so thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shanice Walker. I'm 18 years old as of last week, and I go to El Camino. I'm a senior. I would like to thank everyone for this opportunity. It's been such a blessing to be here, and yeah.
Good job. Hi, everyone. My name is Ferry June, and I am a director for the Oceanside Sea Lion, and we do serve.
Thank you, everyone. I'll give the microphone back to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. If you notice, they were selected, they won last year. So they actually get honored on their way out. So they get honored, recognized. So they've just completed a year of their service. So that's why we're thanking them for everything that they've done. So it's time for pictures, right? The rest of the council, come on up.
Austin. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask the girls to wait here because we have one more thing that, where did it go? And that is welcoming or actually honoring a business, which is something that the girls always participate in. So I thought it would be really cool to have them stay up here. And this is the Mayor's Business Spotlight. This is in conjunction with the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. So by the way, Elizabeth, you stay up here too, right? Okay, good. So today we are honoring Flip Flop Shops Oceanside, and the business owners are Shelby and Roma Nichols. Come on down. How are you? Congratulations. Congratulations. So can I go ahead and read this? They do such a nice job, right? So this says, in recognition of your exceptional contributions and service to the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce and the Oceanside community. Thank you so much. And this is for you. And I'm going to hand the mic over to Elizabeth.
Good evening again. My name is Elizabeth Carlson. I am with the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. I am the Special Events Coordinator, and I have a little bit of thing to say about you guys today because, I have to have my little microphone. So Roma and Shelby, they are husband and wife team behind this small, meaningful beachside shop. Roma is a full-time public servant, but she always carried a dream in her heart to own a little shop by the ocean. With the support and the encouragement of her husband, Shelby, that dream has come true, opening the doors March 2023. Today, Shelby runs the shop full-time, bringing their shared vision together. They created this welcoming space for locals and visitors to connect, discover, and feel at home. But it's more than just a business for them. It's a platform. They are building lasting relationships with their local businesses and contributing to their community through events, collaborations, and charitable efforts. Please join me in celebrating Oceanside Sea Lions Club. Oh my gosh. Please recognize Flip Flop Shops of Oceanside for their outstanding contributions to the local economy and vibrant coastal culture. Congratulations.
Just like to thank everybody in the community. It's been awesome.
Thank you. Okay, who doesn't have flip-flops in the house, right? I mean, you have flip-flops, right? Well, you have an array of flip-flops that you can come on down and check them out, right? And this is something that is definitely part of Oceanside culture, right? Flip-flops. All right.
Go to Amazon, go visit there.
All right, thank you. Pictures, council? Yes. Thank you. Thank you to both of you, and also to Elizabeth, and also to Miss Oceanside, Miss Teen Oceanside, and the princesses. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you. Speaking of service, we are now at Oceanside Employee Recognition Awards. This is also so important to honor our employees. And tonight we have Melissa Maya, yes, HR technician. And so please, department heads and
Council members, elected officials, department directors.
come on down.
All right. Good evening, Mayor Sanchez, council members, department directors, and audience. On behalf of the Human Resource Department and the City of Oceanside, we would like to present our 2025 First Quarter Service Award recipients who have reached the milestone of 20 years of service or more. The following recipients have reached 20 years of service. Although they were not able to attend tonight's presentation, we would like to acknowledge the following: Shailene Clough, Kathy Demento, Harold Farney, Josh Berry, Eugene Rontowitz, Dennis Guamateto, Alicia Mendoza, Ronald Navarez, Michael Province, Dwayne Shute, and Felix Uritia. Please join me in a round of applause for our 20-year service award recipients. Next, we have 25 years of service. When your name is called, please come forward. David M. Sanchez. David was hired on January 24th, 2000 as a maintenance worker 1 in the Water Utilities Department Sewer Division. In March of 2002, David was promoted to a Utility Worker 1 shortly after he became a Utility Worker 2 in 2003, and then a Utility Worker 3 in 2005, for which he held that position for 17 years. In August of 2022, David accepted the position of a Mechanical Technologist 1 in the Facilities Maintenance Division. His demonstration of organization, leadership, and stability have allowed David to become an asset to his crew and effectively perform his current role as a Mechanical Technologist 3. David brings a can-do attitude to work each day and an understanding in the mechanical field that has aided in the overall success to the team and the department. Thank you, David, for your hard work and dedication. In addition to David, we also have Victor Gulian and Ivan Sosa, who reached 25 years of service this quarter, but were not able to attend. Congratulations to them as well. We now have our 35 Years of Service Award, Brett LaCour. Brett began his career with the City of Oceanside Water Utilities Department on January 8, 1990 as a laboratory assistant trainee. He then promoted to a laboratory assistant in January 1992, to which he has held the position for 33 years. Brett contributes to the morale of the lab with his positive attitude and willingness to help others. Brett's dependability, consistency, hard work, and reliable work product have made him a valuable member of the team. Brett has remained dedicated to serving the needs of the department and the City of Oceanside for 35 years. The community and the City of Oceanside thank you, Brett, for 35 years of service. On behalf of the City of Oceanside, congratulations to everyone recognized this evening. We thank you for your continued commitment to our community.
Thank you. You didn't do it. Next is closed session report. Mr. Burke?
Thank you, Mayor. There was no meeting on item 1 today, conference with labor negotiator, so no action to report. And on item 2, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, based on the facts stated in the January 22, 2025 EMB law letter. Council did meet in closed session, but there's no action under the Brown Act at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next are consent calendar items number 3 through 20. Are there any requests to pull?
We have a request to pull item number 19.
Okay. Also, Councilmember Weiss?
I'd like to pull item 4 and move approval of the balance.
Okay. So that was a motion to move approval of balance. Okay. Is there a second? I'll go ahead and second. Deputy Mayor Joyce?
I apologize. I also wanted to pull 5 and 9.
Which one?
5 and 9.
5 and 9. All right, so no other requests to pull. Let's go ahead and vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 4 is accept city clerk's action minutes of the Small Craft Harbor District Board of Directors, Community Development Commission, City Council, and Oceanside Public Financing Authority of the April 9th, 2025 regular meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. And I pulled that to specifically make 2 comments about item 21, which was the council member item on our last agenda. And I apologize because I had to watch the replay several times to kind of figure out what actually happened versus what I thought had happened. So I supported the no-fault evictions provided. It was the time period for payment was reduced from 2 months to 1 month, which it was, and I had indicated that it needed to be consistent with state law. In watching the replay before we voted, it was clear, even though I missed it, that Councilmember Robinson had asked the question of Deputy Mayor Joyce, well, isn't that the same as state law? And Deputy Mayor Joyce said, no, I wanted to apply to all rentals. And I just want to give staff direction, because that's what the item was 2 weeks ago, that my intent was to exempt those properties that are exempted by state law, which includes single-family homes. So if an ordinance comes back that does not exempt those same properties, I will not be supporting it. And then similarly, on the rate cap for the corporate-owned apartment, pre-95 corporate-owned apartment complexes, if that rate cap requires us to have any type of an appeals process, whether it's through the Housing Commission, the council, or some other independent appeals board, I will not be supporting that when it comes forward. So my comment to direction to staff is to make sure that they don't go out and spend the next 6 months putting an ordinance together that is not going to have council majority support. So with that, I'll move approval of item 4.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 4-1. Figueroa, no.
Item number 4 is accept city clerk's action minutes of the Small Craft Harbor District Board of Directors.
5.
Oh, 5, sorry. I circled the wrong one. Oh, yeah, no, I already said that one. Okay, 5 is, staff recommends that the city council approve a purchase order to American Ramp Company in an amount not to exceed $1 million for design and installation of a pump track at El Corazon Park Site 1, and authorize the finance services director or designee to execute the purchase order. And I'm sorry, who was that again?
That was me.
Okay.
I just wanted to put it out there that this is a 35,000 square foot track. It's a good sized track. Within the space that we have, I've been kind of weighing into to ask if we could make it larger, particularly because a big part of our park has been cut off by the need to give the parking to Front Wave Arena, whereas we used to have parking space there. So I would just ask that staff continue to look at ways to expand the park as they can. And I know there are some soil issues there, but to the best of ability, it would be great if we could expand the park, because this is our one big one and we already have so much interest. It would be a shame to have a park that is small in a way that it's always crowded because people want to be there. So that's my only comment on this one. I move approval.
Okay, I understand that competition size is at least, what is it, 35,000 square feet?
Honorable Mayor and council members, a final qualifier tracks are slightly different. So a final track is 25,000 square feet, and a qualifier track is in the 15 to 20,000 square foot range.
Okay, thank you very much. And you've moved to the item number 5. So I'll go ahead and second. Let's vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Okay, item number 9. Staff recommends that City Council approve Amendment 4 to the professional services agreement with Schmidt Design Group in the amount of $111,134 for a revised contract amount of $733,624 to perform additional design services for the El Corazon Parkside 1 project, and authorize the city manager to execute the amendment upon receipt of all supporting documents.
That was me as well.
Okay.
And we do have public on this item too.
All right, why don't we hear from the public first?
Okay, Jimmy Knott? 19? Is
Okay,
this-
not anyone from the public.
Oh, we're on
Okay.
10.
We're on 9.
Under item number 9, we do not have a speaker. I apologize. Jimmy pulled item number 19.
Okay, so, but Deputy
Item
Mayor.
number 9 was Deputy Mayor Joyce.
Right.
Misread my handwriting there for a minute.
Well, if you can't read it, no.
I was just reviewing the previous actions on this, and there are actions around sports field lighting. And again, as we just kind of covered, we have this beautiful, amazing pump track that's proposed to come in. And I would like to, with council's support, get lighting installed so that is not a pump track that goes away at 5 o'clock in the winter, that can be used throughout the season. So I'm just looking to give direction to pursue that as well.
So, Councilmember Weiss?
Here's a question for the city manager. What time do we close all parks in the wintertime?
I believe they close at sunset during the winter. Our Parks Director is here to answer that question.
Yes, Manny Gonzalez, Parks and Rec Director.
Honorable Mayor and Council, the parks close at 6 p.m. unless there is a permit from October to April, and then at 9 o'clock without a permit during the rest of the year.
Thank you.
So how, if we added lights, would that still apply in the wintertime then?
Per our existing ordinance, yes.
Are lights possible at the location where the pump track is being proposed? Because I saw it comments about this geotechnical and the asphalt being flexible because of the geotechnical concerns.
I'll defer to Kimberly Corbin with engineering on that one.
Honorable Mayor and council members, Councilmember Weiss, there is possibilities of doing lighting at the pump track currently, as Joyce has mentioned. Councilmember Joyce has mentioned there is no lighting at the pump track at this time, but there is possibilities of doing lighting at that location.
So could we include that as an alternate in the bid documents?
That is correct. City staff will have to come back with another amendment. It will add scope to the current contract to do lighting at the location of the pump track, so we would come back to council for that.
Okay, thank you.
Would there be any delays with respect to getting the project done?
Honorable Mayor and council members, the critical path at this point is to design the pump track. There would be time to allow for the design of the additional lighting at the pump track during this effort.
Okay, thank you.
It just increases costs.
Right, and that will be the alternative. Okay, so we can decide which ones at a later time.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. So there is a motion and a second. Mr. Borrego?
Honorable Mayor and council members, I do want to point out, and one thing that we will need to look at is within the language of the specific plan itself, there is very specific language about where lighting is and is not allowed with our sports facilities, in particular with Park Site 1. So we'll need to take that into consideration as well. But if we need to change that to accommodate the lights, then we would bring that forward at the same time.
Okay, great. Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Okay, item number 19. Staff recommends the City Council adopt a resolution authorizing the city to apply for a grant funding opportunity to develop an active transportation plan. The application is for a San Diego Association of Governments, that's SANDAG, Smart Growth Incentive Program grant in the amount of $650,000. And who pulled that?
Jimmy Knott?
Mr. Knott.
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Sherry Lane. I was wondering on this exactly how that this could assist our seniors and low-income community for after-hours medical assistance, like medical appointments, and emergency shopping needs, and also for individual communities within our city, like for emergency crosswalk lighting, and additional amenities like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and move it. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Deputy Mayor?
I'll just say this is all about active transportation. So it's a really exciting grant, and I appreciate staff going after it. I think it's really important to our moving forward with our CAP especially.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All right. Please vote.
Motion approved, 4-0.
All right. Now we're on to general items. Item number 21. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution approving an amendment to the employment agreement between the city and City Manager Jonathan Borrego to be effective May 1st, 2025. We have a report by Mr. O'Brien, our Deputy City Manager. Mr. O'Brien?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and members of the City Council. Robert O'Brien, Deputy City Manager. Before I begin this evening's short presentation, I do want to bring to your attention a correction that was not captured in the final version of the staff report that was uploaded into the Legistar system. The recommendation section should have reflected an effective date of April 27, 2025, which coincides with the start of a new pay period instead of the May 1st, 2025 date. That was my error, and I just want to make sure that that is captured on the record as a correction for tonight. Of further note, the body of the staff report and the proposed contract amendment and resolution that were agendized do reflect the correct effective date of April 27, 2025. So by way of background, in December of 2024, a total compensation survey of city managers within San Diego County was conducted by the government training agency, Regional Training Center, which found that the Oceanside city manager position ranked 10th out of 17. The most notable disparity was in the category of deferred compensation, in which Oceanside ranked last. In this category, the city's current annual employer contribution is $1,200. On March 26, 2025, the City Council conducted a personnel review on the city manager and directed staff to negotiate modifications to the deferred compensation benefit currently provided. In compliance with Government Code Section 5493, subsection C3, the result of those negotiations are presented as follows. Effective April 27, 2025, the city shall increase the annual contribution to the city manager's deferred compensation plan by $19,600 for a total annual contribution of $20,800. The initial increase of $19,600 shall be deposited as a lump sum contribution on or as soon as practical after April 27, 2025. Finally, beginning in January of 2026, the city's annual contribution shall be distributed on a biweekly basis at a rate of $800 per pay. As presented, staff is recommending the adoption of the resolution approving an amendment to the employment agreement between the city and city manager Jonathan Borrego to be effective April 27, 2025. Honorable Mayor and members of City Council, thank you for your time and attention this evening, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Any requests from the public to speak?
We do have one request from Jimmy Knott.
Okay, Mr. Knott.
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott. I had a couple of questions on this. First off is there was a question of total compensation, but it wasn't, I read the report, staff report, but it wasn't exactly clear what is that total compensation. The second part is deferred compensation. It was like it was taken out of the whole big ball of wax, but it wasn't clearly defined. What is deferred compensation? What is it used for? Then my question after thinking about it was, what is also, how's it compared to community assets and community needs? And what exactly, how do you rank this? And it wasn't too clear in the report on how this is ranked. So the report itself was sort of nebulous in saying, yes, he deserved this because the other cities that were receiving this. And to me, it needed a little bit more clarification. And the public that I've run into over the past few years have asked, what does a city manager do for the funds that they get, and how much does the city manager gets paid? And is it top heavy, or is it really based upon what? So there's a question that's involved here. And I think that a little bit more clarity in the report would be beneficial to help the community. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other requests to speak? Okay. Mr. O'Brien, I believe there were some questions there about what the numbers really mean.
Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and City Council members, I can address the first two comments. The last one, I think that's a little bit broader.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual categories that are part of the survey, total compensation was comprised of annual salary, deferred compensation, which for the general public is equivalent to a 401k plan in the public sector. So in the public sector, it's a 457 plan in which an employee can take some of the earnings that they have and put it towards this a separate retirement account, a deferred contribution plan. In this case, what other agencies do is the employer can also contribute to that same plan. So in the public sector, it's a 457 plan. In the private sector, it's a 401k plan. It also, the total compensation also includes what we would call a cafeteria plan. So those are contributions towards medical, dental, life insurance, those type of things. And then there's the car allowance and a cell phone allowance where applicable. So based on the survey, just for a point of reference, the total compensation for the Oceanside City Manager is $329,637. The highest in the survey was City of Chula Vista at $416,844. So in the future, if this comes up, if it's the desire of the council for further transparency, we can include the survey as part of the staff report as an attachment.
Right, and the recommendation will get a city manager to the median.
Correct. In that category, that would bring that from currently last to the median.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Burke, do you have any other comments?
Thank you, Mayor, council members. And just to be clear, the city manager, this is a council manager form of government. So the city manager is effectively the chief executive of the city. He's responsible as the head of all departments, other than my department, manages all the day-to-day operations of the city from police, water, every other department. The city manager is the head of the organization chart. So effectively the CEO of a public corporation.
Basically runs the city. Is there a motion? Pardon? Okay, sorry? Okay, there's a motion to approve. I'll go ahead and second that. Let's vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 22, staff recommends City Council approve a 13-month drone as first responder pilot program. It's called a DFR, and a real-time crime center, that's RTCC. Approve a purchase order to Flying Lion, Inc. for staffing of a visual observer position in amount not to exceed $143,600. Authorize the purchase as a sole source, and authorize the financial services director or designee to execute the purchase order. And we have a report by Lieutenant Michael Province from OPD.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, and members of the community. My name is Michael Province. I'm here representing the Oceanside Police Department to speak about an exciting and forward-looking public safety initiative, the Drone as a First Responder Program, or DFR. My colleague, Crime Analyst Manager Steve Walter, will be presenting the Real-Time Crime Center. This evening, we are seeking your support to launch a 13-month pilot program that will allow us to test and evaluate the impact of DFR and real-time crime center operations in the City of Oceanside. Staff recommends that the council approve a 13-month DFR program and real-time crime center, approve a purchase order to Flying Lion for the staffing of a visual observer position, authorize the purchase as a sole source, and authorize the financial services director or designee to execute the purchase order. Oceanside Police Department has been operating drones since 2016. We currently have 14 certified, FAA-certified pilots, including sergeants and a lieutenant, all of whom maintain annual proficiency testing and operate under strict FAA authorization. Right now, our drone program is patrol-led, which means officers carry drones in their vehicles, respond to the scene, and set up and deploy the drone. The process takes time and is high risk. In high-risk and dynamic situations, every second counts. The DFR program eliminates that delay. Instead of waiting for a pilot to arrive, a drone will be pre-positioned in a downtown rooftop staffed by a sworn officer and a dedicated visual observer. When a high-priority call comes in, the drone can be launched in seconds. In most cases, we expect it to arrive on scene within about a minute. The drone will live stream the video back to dispatch, patrol officers, and our command staff, providing eyes on the scene before officers arrive. This means better situational awareness, smarter, safer decision-making, and in many cases, the ability to resolve an incident without ever sending a patrol unit to the scene, reducing unnecessary risk and resource use. This is an image on the slide of the proposed coverage area during this trial period. We focus on the downtown area due to the highest call volume in the geographic area for the city, and also the geographic nature of the downtown area itself. As weather conditions allow, we'll possibly expand this during the trial a little bit east of I-5, depending on those conditions. Prior DFR programs have shown that up to 20% of calls for service can be resolved without an officer presence. Transparency and accountability are heart of this program. Every flight is automatically logged with pilot, duration, and purpose. These logs are made public available through a dedicated website. All operations follow FAA regulations and department policy, including data privacy, retention, and use restrictions. There's no random surveillance and no operation outside approved policies. This program was presented to both the Police and Fire Commission and Community Relations Commission. It received unanimous support from the Police and Fire Commission, and the Community Relations Commission expressed strong interest in expanding the program citywide in the future, along with continued transparency, which we're fully committed to. This video shows the DFR program in action and the rescue of a driver from a vehicle. The allocation of resources, the exact time, exact location of the burning vehicle was determined by the DFR. Audio. Pause it. Excellent. Audio.
So we need some help from IT? Okay.
We can go ahead and continue without it. I'll go ahead and play the video and provide a little bit of narration.
All right, thank you.
So you can see the drone used a thermal camera, found the vehicle, was able to direct officers in exactly the location where the vehicle and where they need to respond to.
What is the battery life?
For the drones?
Yeah.
30, 40 minutes, approximately.
Honorable Mayor and council members, Chief Baldovino. So what you saw is officers saw smoke, or I'm sorry, the drone saw smoke. They didn't know where it was, and the drone operator was able to direct officers to the location where they identified a vehicle that had crashed. There was an individual in the vehicle that was stuck, and the officers were able to break the back window and rescue the individual.
Essentially, that's the video. The subject data pulling the subject from the vehicle, and this is an example of something that the Drone First Responder Program does on a relatively routine basis. We believe the DFR represents a smart, modern approach to improving our community and officer safety with a strong emphasis on accountability. At this time, I'd like to hand things over to my colleague who will speak more about the Real-Time Crime Center, which will support the program, and others moving forward.
This might be a good time to stop here and go to our 6 o'clock time certain items, because you still have some time to speak, right, and to present.
Correct.
Right? Okay, why don't we go ahead and take a break on this item number 22, so that we can do our time certain ones, 6 o'clock items. And again, I want to announce that item number 25 has been continued to May 21st. Item number 25 has been continued to May 21st. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started on the first, I guess it's the only one left on the agenda. That's item number 23 of our public hearings. And I've been provided a script for this. So would you like me to go ahead and read that paragraph, or did you want to read that paragraph? Ms. Moya.
I don't have the script.
So, Mayor, we'll go ahead and have staff introduce this item. They'll give the initial presentation, and then when we open the public hearing component, we'll
So I usually read.
Correct.
Okay, and that is not necessary at this time? Or is it?
Yes, correct. Go ahead and introduce this item, right?
Okay, I think I'm going to read it. Staff recommends City Council, number 1, hold a public hearing. That's what we're doing. Number 2, adopt the resolution of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, California, acting as the legislative body of the City of Oceanside Community Facilities District, number 2023-1. That's a North River Farms Public Facilities, approving a second amendment to the rate and method of apportionment and decreasing the amount of bonded indebtedness and calling an election therein. 3, direct the city clerk to hold the election. 4, adopt the resolution of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, California, acting as the legislative body of the City of Oceanside Community Facilities District, number 2023-1. Again, North River Farms Public Facilities. Certifying the results of the April 23rd, 2025 special election. And 5, introduce the ordinance of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, California, acting as the legislative body of the City of Oceanside Community Facilities District, number 2023-1, North River Farms Public Facilities, authorizing the levy of a special tax within such district. So I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing and request disclosures from council members regarding constituent contacts and our correspondence.
Staff only.
Staff.
None since the last hearing.
All right, Ms. Navarro, are there any correspondence and or petitions?
Just 3 ballots that were cast for this election.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Ms. Jill Moya, our Financial Services Director.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. I'm Jill Moya, Financial Services Director, and tonight I'm here to present item number 23, recommending the approval of a second amendment to the rate and method of apportionment for the Community Facilities District for Public Facilities as part of the North River Farms project. This evening, staff is recommending that council approve the action items just read by Honorable Mayor Sanchez and listed on this slide. In November 2019, City Council approved the North River Farms project, a mixed-use housing development located along North River Road. Conditions of approval for the project included certain public improvements as well as building and operating a new fire station to service the area. To meet these conditions, the developer requested the formation of 2 community facility districts, or CFDs, a facilities CFD to fund public improvements, and a services CFD to fund operations of the fire station. On February 15th, 2023, City Council approved resolutions forming the CFDs and approving the rate and method of apportionment. In April 2024, City Council approved Amendment 1 to the rate and method of apportionment, which changed the zone map. Tonight, we are recommending that City Council approves Amendment 2 to the rate and method of apportionment, which reduces the bonding capacity authorized from $45 million to $25 million. This amendment will reduce special tax rates by about 38%. No changes to the public infrastructure requirements will be made through this amendment. The North River Farms project is still obligated to construct all agreed upon improvements. So in conclusion, staff recommends that council approve the action items listed on this slide. I'm here to answer any questions along with the city's bond counsel, Brian Forbach, and other city staff.
Thank you. So now is the time for public hearing relating to the change proceedings for City of Oceanside Community Facilities District number 2023-1. The public hearing relating to the change proceedings for Community Facilities District number 2023-1 is now open. Council has received a staff report on this matter, which is hereby entered into the record of the public hearing. And I have already received comments from staff. At this time, any members of the public wishing to speak on this matter may be heard.
We do not have any pre-registered speakers on this item.
This is a public hearing, so you do not have to have signed up to speak on this item. If you wish to speak on this item, please approach the podium, state your name, and you will have up to 3 minutes to speak. No one is rising, so I'm going to go ahead and close this portion of the public hearing. Is there any discussion or are there any questions from the members of the council? I see no request to speak on behalf of the council. Has the city clerk received written protests to any of the matters addressed in this public hearing from any registered voters or landowners of more than 50% of the acreage located within Community Facilities District number 2023-1?
I have received 0 written protests.
Okay. If there are no further comments from the public or the members of the council, I hereby declare this public hearing closed. Excuse me. I will entertain a motion to approve, quote, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, California, acting as a legislative body of the City of Oceanside Community Facilities District number 2023-1, North River Farms Public Facilities, approving a second amendment to the rate and method of apportionment and decreasing the amount of bonded indebtedness and calling an election therein. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
All right. Okay, there's a motion and a second.
Please vote.
Please vote.
Okay.
Needs to be added on the script, okay?
I know. Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. And this is scripted. This is every word seems to matter on this. Okay. We're now on elections. All ballots. Oh, this is your part of it, Mr. Clerk.
So if you'd like,
City Clerk.
we could, it wouldn't take too long, if you want to call it like a 2-minute recess as we open and count the ballots. There's only 3 ballots that were submitted. But I'll announce it. Our first ballot have both indicated yes and yes. Our third ballot has indicated.
This is live action.
Just so it's transparent. Yes and yes. So we have 2 ballots confirming yes. And our last ballot Yes and yes.
Right.
Okay. All ballots have been cast in connection with the election for Community Facilities District Number 2023-1, and the election is now closed. The ballot propositions have been approved by more than 2/3 of the votes cast in the election for Community Facilities District Number 2023-1, and I hereby certify the election results.
Thank you. Having received confirmation for the city clerk of the results of the election, which was unanimous, I would entertain a motion to approve, quote, resolution of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, California, acting as the legislative body of the City of Oceanside Community Facilities District number 2023-1, again, North River Farms Public Facilities, certifying the results of the April 23rd, 2025 special election. Is there a motion?
I move approval.
Is there a second? All right. No other requests to speak. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
All right, this resolution certifying the results of the election has passed, and I would now ask the city attorney to conduct a first reading of the ordinance relating to Community Facilities District number 2023-1, which would authorize the levy of a special tax in accordance with a special tax formula approved by the landowners within the Community Facilities District as the election, at the election for Community Facilities District number 2023-1.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the first reading introduction of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Oceanside, acting as the legislative body of City of Oceanside Community Facilities District number 2023-1, North River Farms Public Facilities, authorizing the levy of a special tax within such district.
Thank you. I would now ask for a motion to introduce the ordinance for Community Facilities District number 2023-1.
Move introduction.
Right, there's a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
All right, we have completed item number 23. I'd like to go back to item number, because we're done with public hearing items, right? Yes. So I'd like to go back to item number 22. And that is, again, the 13-month drone as first responder pilot program and real-time crime center.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. My name is Steve Walter, and I supervise the Crime Analysis and Intelligence Unit at the Oceanside Police Department, and I'm here to talk to you tonight about the launch of our real-time crime center. So we recognize that when we introduce projects that involve new police technology, that there are concerns within the community. However, one of the primary reasons that we are launching a real-time crime center is that we believe it is a responsible and effective way to ensure that we are making the best possible use of the technology that we have available. So, what is a real-time crime center? Well, in its simplest form, a real-time crime center is a room within the police department that is designed for real-time crime analysis. But what's more important is what a real-time crime center can provide. So a real-time crime center is about efficiency. It's about making better use of existing technologies and programs and bringing them together in a centralized hub. And through all of this, the ultimate goal of this project is to provide a proactive emphasis on officer, citizen, and community safety. How does it work? As you can see through the image in this slide, a real-time crime center is a venue for monitoring live 911 calls and bringing together various data sources, video sources, data from computer-aided dispatch and records management systems, automated license plate readers, criminal databases, mapping software, and other crime analysis tools. I'd just like to point out everything that you see here
are tools that we are already using on a daily basis. What a real-time crime center allows us to do is to use these tools to improve our response to crime events as they are unfolding. So how does this improve public safety? Having real-time accurate information in one place helps increase the reliability of our information. So better, more accurate descriptions of suspects, vehicles, and the locations of victims enables quicker aid and safer apprehension. So I have a video that we would like to use to illustrate this point. This does not have audio, but I'd just like you to look on the screen as it plays and put yourself in the shoes of an eyewitness that is watching suspects as they flee the scene of a crime. And ask yourself this question: what information would you be able to gather from the naked eye versus what we may be able to gather from the use of a real-time crime center?
I think I've seen this one.
So you can see from that example, use of cameras in real time is going to get you better, more detailed information. You can also imagine that better, more accurate information can also help us to lessen unnecessary traffic stops to prevent us from pulling over people that may not be involved in the crime at all. So it's important to mention what a DFR and real-time crime center programs do not do. So they do not conduct random surveillance on the community. They do not operate outside of standard policy and procedures. They do not take resources away from crime problem areas. They in fact do the opposite. And these programs do not share information outside of law enforcement. We are certainly not the first department in California to launch a DFR and real-time crime center. You can see from this list, several agencies have beat us to the punch, but we're anxious to join this list. Finally, I'll leave you with this slide here that has some success statistics from both the Chicago Police Department and Miami after they implemented similar programs. And really to conclude, I'd just like to reiterate that the primary goal driving the DFR and real-time crime center programs is to provide a proactive emphasis on public safety. If we have technology that can make people safer, then we have an obligation to use it for that purpose. If we have the ability to access information that can keep people safe as a crime event is unfolding, then we have an obligation to find ways to get that information into the hands of our police officers that are responding to the call. That concludes our presentation. both Lieutenant Robbins and I are available to answer your question.
Thank you. Councilmember Robinson, do you have a question? Yeah, okay. We'll go to public first, unless Councilmember Figueroa, do you have a question, or do you want to wait?
You can wait on the public.
Okay. So do we have any requests to speak on this item?
Yeah, we have two members of the public that wish to speak on this item. Our first speaker is Jimmy Knott, to be followed by Max Disposti.
Mr. Knott?
Mayor, council members, Jimmy Knott, 127 Cherry Lane. First off, this seems to triplicate what services we already have available. And what I refer to is the city's traffic monitoring system, the City Operations Center, and Oceanside's Fire Department. They already had drones. They already take care of the monitoring system with cameras. They already take care of cameras that can focus in even into visuals of the face and identification of vehicles. The question is the overlap and the cooperation between all these different groups. If this was broken down, this would be easily done. Could be easily merged together. And it could coordinate staffing. If there are also officers on desk duty, workman's comp, or injured, they could be used as staffing, thus reducing the cost. And then there are questions about public access and oversight and media access, our fifth estate, to make sure that the public has access to review of it. Now, there are other technologies that are in question as well that have been available for over 20 years. Audio triangulation that can pinpoint a gunshot within inches. Reverse parabolic thermal imaging, which the U.S. fire organizations have been using for at least 20 years. So there are other technologies that could be integrated, but it's just dropping the fiefdoms that we have and integrating them. This could save funding for everybody that's involved, and we would be able to do the service. It's just a matter of what is going on. You saw that fire. Why should it be exclusive for the police department? Let's consider expanding it out. OFD needs this.
Thank you, Mr. Disposti.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Max Disposti here, also Community Relations Commission. I'm just sharing a few things because we have witnessed the presentation before, so thank you again. I think one of the concerns that we submitted from the CRC was not so much in the merit of the program, but the lack of policies and procedures. I mean, there are policies or procedures, but we felt they were not enough to understand who controls who in terms of digital information that's retained. How long does it stay? Who is making use of it? I know that the police department, we have a great chief at TIP. They assure us they're going to be used for the purpose of serving people's life. But at the same time, we need something in writing that also specifies how long, this technology, because we know the technology is changing every other year. So making sure that we put policies and procedures that I also believe the council should have something to say on those policies or procedures, because in the future we might have a different chief, a different kind of team, and we don't know what kind of control or lack of control we might have over the use of certain instruments that apparently appear to be life-saving. But as we know, there is a lot of concern from our citizens about control, safety, privacy, and so forth. So I would like to see as we expressed before, a little bit more digging into policies and procedures and understanding where are the protection from the public. Can the public retain some of this information or not? All of that, I think, is very, very important because these pilot programs are pilot programs. They're very experimental. We don't know yet the effect on the community, even though I can see this is going to be the future of policing too. But without policy procedures, we are going into really implementing something that could actually harm our community instead of supporting it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I do see that there were several documents that were attached to or made a part of the staff report, including the policies and records maintenance and release. And I understand that there was, I read the report, which talked about becoming or being as transparent as possible. Chief, did you want to say something, or Lieutenant? Did you want to add?
Yes. Honorable Mayor, appreciate the time and chance to respond to the question. We have extensive policies and procedures related to our current drones that we use, our records management systems, and our information technology usage that are all related. And these are our technologies and procedures, whether it be the Real-Time Crime Center or the drones specifically that we already use in the city, and we already have extensive policies on those that are available for review. We did attach them in the staff reports. We have copious amounts, but essentially the videos and any of the recordings from the drones specifically, because I think that was the major point of it, was those are going to be handled along with our PR requests. And for acts of crime, we do those videos, we have those videos saved, and we handle Public Records Act requests, reference those videos on a routine basis.
Right. Thank you. Councilmember Robinson? To the council.
Thanks, Mayor. I hate to say this, but I think Mr. Knott, some of his comments may have created some questions in the public's mind, and I think some of those things deserve a answer. I don't know, Chief, if you want to take any of those on. I can ask you direct questions if you want, but.
Well, there was a lot to unpack in that statement. I can tell you that there are traffic cameras, and I don't believe those are monitored. I don't believe those are recorded. I know the fire department, and I won't speak on behalf of Chief Parsons, but I know they have a drone, but I don't believe they have a program in place. I believe they only launch it when there's a structure fire. But again, I won't speak on his behalf. But no, the gist of this is that we need a program to bring all these resources together under one place so that we can better utilize all this software and all this technology that we have at our disposal to better our response to the community's calls for service.
Okay, so let me just ask you a couple things. With your body-worn cameras, they get reviewed, right? The videos off that. Could a pilot fly this drone and the video, does it get reviewed if it's launched on a mission?
Does it get reviewed?
By staff? Do you have anybody that reviews the?
Down the line, you mean, afterwards?
Yeah.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. So I guess the point is, an officer has very strict rules to the pilots to how they can fly. If they just do a mission for fun, would somebody know that?
Yes. Every flight will be documented, will be audited. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Can any police officer fly these drones?
No, you have to be a pilot, FAA certified.
So somebody on work comp or just light duty can't be a drone pilot?
I mean, if somebody was light duty and they were a pilot?
I know that,
yes.
But I mean, just the fact that you're on.
Correct.
You're not out on patrol, you're not going to be able to go fly drones.
Correct. Anybody off the street cannot fly.
Trying to help you here.
Yes.
Anyways, I think, let me just comment then. I think it's a great program. I think if you look at the list of cities that are using this program, they've been in place. Lieutenant, how long have some of these cities, or whoever wants to answer it, how long have some of these cities been using DFR or real-time crime centers?
At least 8 years that I'm aware of with the drone as a first responder.
Okay, so it's not a new program. and it's been proven. I think there were some other videos that you didn't show tonight that I've seen that I think really speak to the officer safety components and the public safety components, that by alerting them as to what they're rolling into ahead of time to either de-escalate issues. So I think that's another very important component of what DFR can do for us. That's really all. I'm really glad to see it. The other question I have is, I know it came up that potential expansion through the city. So this pilot would last a certain period of time. If it proves to be effective, is there thoughts or an idea on how you would expand it across the city?
There is, the current regulations are always expanding within the government and the federal government per se, but there is thought about it, and that's the idea of this pilot program. Is this something that works for our city, or it doesn't? And that's why we have 13 months to decide. Is this something that's going to work? And our plan is, once we make the decision, once statistics can show either way, come back to council and go through this process again with what our expansion would be, or release a report back to council about the program itself.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm just, I'm glad downtown's getting that's the obvious site to do as a test. I get it, but I think there is a real need to have this program expand as we can afford, and to cover all of our cities, all of our city areas. I think it'll prove to be very effective. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Figueroa, did you make it?
Yeah, thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you, staff, Steve, Chief. I know this is my third round of listening and watching the presentation. I got to listen with the audio as the council liaison for the Community Relations Commission, along with the Police and Fire Commission. So I know that you all have done extensive research into this, so very grateful for that. And in the spirit of efficiency and being effective as much as possible, I know that the department also has had its share of vacancies and trying to manage the entire city, us being the third largest city in the city of San Diego, in San Diego County. I know it's, at times we've been spread thin. But sitting in those commission meetings, I just want to raise some of the questions for this audience that I heard that came out of the CRC, the Community Relations Commission, from certain commissioners, and just wanted to bring them here and to give you the opportunity to answer the same questions that you answered there. So we had certain commissioners that had some reservations and some caution about this, the drones and the tech being utilized and deployed within our historically marginalized communities of color. I know that some of our commissioners talked about what this would look like if some of these drones flew over Crown Heights or the East Side, and how they didn't feel as comfortable, or felt like maybe the community in those neighborhoods wouldn't feel as comfortable. And I know that at this moment, the pilot is just focused for downtown, correct?
That's correct. I think it's important to remind everybody the image that we had on screen, and that area of coverage is basically dictated by the range that the drone can fly. And it's done in a way to cover an area where we believe will receive the higher volume of calls and where we can be most effective with the program.
Okay, thank you. Another concern was making sure that access to this technology would be implemented and operated with the best practices and policies and procedures that are transparent. I know we have other jurisdictions, other agencies that have been employed, I think you said 8 years. So hopefully we don't have to learn on the fly and learn by a mistake or learn by a situation. We have the opportunity to really employ the best practices and procedures. And given that it is a pilot program, I think one of the things for us to evaluate the effectiveness of the program and how it's going, I think it would be great for the council to receive quarterly reports based on how the pilot and the command center and the drone is, just the effectiveness of it, or maybe some lessons or things that we want to measure. I know that the one time, as far as the expenses are coming, the drone program is coming from a grant, which I think is, it's always really good when our city staff are actively applying for grants and we're able to cover costs that way. But for the cost analysis of maintaining the program, how are we going to measure success or effectiveness? Is that amount of rest, call time reduced? How do we know 13 months from now whether this program was successful?
Well, I think it's a combination. I think we'll be able to produce some statistics through transparency of the drone program that will show the number of flights that we are launching, how often it's called upon us to use it. And I think a lot of it might even be anecdotal. We're going to be able to launch these programs and see with our own eyes how things are working, what we can do better, what we can learn from it. And I think that we'll have some real case examples that will illustrate the success of the program.
Yeah, and I think that's just going to be very important for us to analyze as a council for the next fiscal year, given the personnel costs. Again, I think it's amazing that we're able to secure grant dollars to go after innovative and different things that we can do to meet the needs of our existing departments. But just to analyze the personnel costs for the next fiscal year, I think that data is going to be very important for us to be able to analyze how effective this program was. So those are my questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to try to answer your question in regards to what the community was concerned about with policy and procedures, because it's come up in a couple of these comments and questions. And I want to make it clear, we had an indication about, the idea that, what if somebody's flying a drone for fun? And I want to make it absolutely clear that our policies and procedures prevent that. We have safeguards in place to prevent that. Both of these programs, DFR and Real-Time Crime Center, may only be used for legitimate law enforcement purposes. This is not random surveillance. And I think the thing that ensures that is every time a drone goes in the air, every time the team swings into action inside the Real-Time Crime Center, it's because we are getting a call for service, call for help from the public, and we're using these tools to respond to that.
Yeah. Mayor and Honorable Mayor and Deputy Mayor and Council, if I can add to that, Councilmember Figueroa, to me, one of the biggest measuring sticks will be reducing our response to a call. I think our average response time to a priority 1 call is about 5 minutes, just over 5 minutes. And that's due to staffing and the traffic that we have, the congestion that we have now. And if we can reduce that by 4 minutes, to me, it's a win.
Deputy Mayor Joyce.
Thank you for the presentation. Very compelling. I mean, when you see the visuals of people literally being saved because of it, it's a very compelling conversation. You mentioned expansion. You mentioned expansion within this year. If you were going to expand the area that was shown on the screen, would you be coming back for permission to expand beyond the 5?
Honorable Mayor, council members, no, for this 13-month program, we are relegated to that area that you saw up on screen. However, in the staff report, it does say that it could extend out as far west as Canyon, Capistrano, and parts of Fire Mountain. So.
Okay, so that's bigger than the area that was on the screen, though, right?
Depending on the weather, the drone can fly to those areas. Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. How long is the video retained with the department from a drone flight or from these drone flights?
So it depends. If the video captures a crime in progress, then obviously that goes into that retention sphere. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't, I believe we keep it for a year, and that's based on city retention policy.
Okay. And then I think just for setting expectations for folks who are watching, like, what is the low end threshold of calls of service that would trigger this going up? It wouldn't be every call of service, I assume. You get lots of calls of service.
Again, this is part of that pilot program to figure these specific scenarios out when we're talking about the technical level. But really, it could be any call for service where a police officer would normally respond to. It wouldn't be a call that obviously an officer wouldn't go to. Hopefully that can get sorted out some other way. So if it That really is up to, that's why we're going to have a sworn police officer, and we don't want civilians in there that haven't ever done this job before, and that'll be kind of their call. If the drone is free and available, and it was called, it was something that would necessitate a drone, certainly go to that call. While he's on that call, or the drone's on that call, if there's another call that would be necessitate a drone and have a higher priority, we can certainly divert the drone for that issue. So I don't want to say that there's any limit, a low threshold limit that we're going to say, hey, we're not going to respond to those calls, because it's something based on the officer's discretion that the drone could be beneficial for and could potentially clear that call without an officer response. But that's going to be the officer's discretion. And again, going back to our practices and our procedures, potentially we may have to figure out some of this trial period and maybe codify some of that a little bit more. But at least during the trial, we want to give them the leeway to decide what calls they're going to go to. And hopefully they're going to more and clearing cars out and resources than less.
So that would definitely be something I'd be interested in us codifying a little bit more strongly, because I could see if you have somebody that's in the crime center, like wanting to do the work that they're that they're there to do, right? And so wanting to go on as many calls as possible, but also balancing the public's privacy and everything with that. So I am interested in us kind of exploring that as a policy. I'm also interested in satisfying some of our community's requests, along with understanding how data retention surveillance is overall done with the department, and just getting a clearer picture of that for a general public. Obviously we heard tonight there's some mix of understandings, and I think it'd just be great for people to understand more firmly about that. So I think the CRC would be a good place to do that. I don't know if there's support from up here to direct that to happen sometime in the near future, but I think it'd be a great idea. I do have concerns about the cost. It's $400,000 in the pilot version. I know we're not exactly sure what the next version would look like. To the extent that offsets some of what we have going right now, and we could, if we need to move positions around to fill it or whatever, then that'd be great. If you wanted to speak to that, you could.
Yes, Deputy Mayor Joyce, that would obviously be part of the analysis and the decision-making as we move forward. I will say that a lot of these costs that you're seeing are one-time startup costs. And what's interesting and what's good is that the visual observer, the necessity for that is, we believe is going away. So in the future, we won't need that position. We don't think. That will reduce the cost. And then if we can staff the DFR Real-Time Crime Center with folks who are on duty, then we won't have the need to bring them on with overtime funds.
Okay, that's great to hear. I know that staffing is obviously a challenge. And then, so I'm going to support tonight. I do want to say that the quote tonight, and it's not a direct quote because you said it quickly. I don't want to misquote you, but it was something to the effect of, like, if we have technology to make people safer, then we have a responsibility to deploy it. It's a general quote, and I agree with that. I just want to recognize that technology is always getting better and better, and that there's always a trade-off in privacy when we increase the surveillance of our communities. And so a fully surveilled life might be safer, but the freedom to privacy is a tenet of American life that is central. So I know this can kind of mission creep more and more, and this sounds like a very deliberate and appropriate use of technology, so I'm going to support it. But just in general, I do have concerns about our privacy slowly or quickly dying. So. I'll motion. This is definitely part of that problem. We should do an ordinance. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I will move approval.
All right, is there a second? Okay, Councilmember Weiss?
To the city attorney, we currently have a comprehensive retention schedule that would include the video from these drones. Is that correct?
Honorable Mayor, council members, Councilmember Weiss, yes, that's correct. As you heard the chief describe earlier, the bucket that it falls into within that retention may depend on the nature of the video itself, but we have a comprehensive retention schedule that applies to all manner of public records, including video.
And including our emails and documents and letters that we get from the public and whatnot.
Yes, generally, we can have a more nuanced discussion about.
No, I don't want to get into that, but I just want to just make sure people know that we have a comprehensive retention schedule. Where is the drone going to be parked?
Right now, on top of City Hall. We've designated an area on top of City Hall and that the drone will be flown from. And then that's going to be part of the trial period if we can find a better location, but right now it's City Hall.
So it's not going to be used to deliver DoorDash to people?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And if you get to the point after the pilot period and you determine that it is not a beneficial program, we have the ability to terminate it, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if you seconded the motion, right? Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you. I think that this is a really good program. The calls that I get, especially where I live, which is a higher crime rate, people want cases to be solved. The rate of that cases are solved, that they are the response time, all of those things matter. And I understand, I heard you say that it can expand all the way to Canyon. Is that right?
Potentially, if we have a high enough rooftop,
Okay.
so yes, potentially.
Because having people know that this is something that could happen should they decide to commit a crime, maybe that will have someone decide not to do it. A lot of crimes are a crime of opportunity. Unfortunately, but certainly this is something that, and I have to say that over time I have seen my community, for example, the East Side community, and other communities go from, okay, how am I going to feel about this loss of maybe privacy, to, wow, I'm so glad that they were able to get that license plate or that description, or I'm so glad that that there was a camera at the light, because otherwise it wouldn't have been solved, and otherwise we would have unsolved homicides. So this is something that I see very, very positive. Once you're in the program, I'm sure that some things you'll be able to change certain things to make it a better program. Pass-through memo, maybe, I don't know about quarterly, but definitely at least every 6 months. What was that? Was there a suggestion that we were going to have some kind of a letting us know via pass-through
Honorable
memo?
Mayor, just for staffing purposes, if we could do, halfway through.
Halfway
provide a
through, that makes
pass-through memo,
sense.
does that suffice?
Yeah.
I can
Because I
commit to
definitely
that.
don't want to take time away from this project.
Yeah.
But yeah, halfway through would be good. And if you had changes in that time, and also the efforts that you're making with respect to transparency, I think that's definitely something I heard here on the dais, the need for transparency. All right, there's a motion and a second. Thank you very much. Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Okay, we're now on item number 26, advance written request to reserve time to speak. Mr. Layton, Ken Layton, followed by Tim Gordon.
So since August of 2023, the San Diego Rescue Mission has been manning, based on your approval, the navigation center, which has been at the forefront of dealing with the homeless issue in Oceanside. And I visited there a few weeks ago. It's teeming with activity. There's a lot of stuff going on. And they seem to be doing a very good job. I spoke with the gentleman who runs the San Diego Rescue Mission a few weeks ago, and he said that he didn't expect, his company did not, his nonprofit did not expect there to be so many children to show up at the navigation center, And that's just the way it is. And he said that basically the place is pretty stark. It's pretty desolate. There's nothing for children to do there. He said he asked the city, can you, for the love of God, could you please provide some kind of playground equipment? Because there's nothing for these children who are homeless, I guess, who are there with their parents or single parent or whatever for them to do. And he said that he got back from the city crickets, nothing. And if the city didn't want to do anything, I would say, why the heck couldn't the city have said, put out a call saying, could we please have some donations or, either cash or gifts of actual playground equipment itself? And so my question, I guess, would be to Mr. Borrego is, if your staff didn't tell you what was up, how can that possibly be? Or if you did hear about the request for playground equipment, why did you not say anything to anybody? Or if it was thwarted by a member of the city council for whatever reason, that's pretty sick if you ask me. But I think that it seems like something is working. It's basically a good thing. It's a mixture of private and public and nonprofit. And I just don't understand why when the operator of the navigation center, when they said to the city, please help us with playground equipment, nothing was done. I think it's, if it was intentionally ignored for God knows what, some political reason, I think that's shameful. Also, I did want to bring up the fact that a few weeks ago, the issue of the Ivy Ranch, the whole place was packed with 70-some speakers, people who are benefited from the Ivy Ranch nonprofit, and it's one of three nonprofits that use that facility. And it was very unsettling, frankly, if I could say that, on the part of the mayor, who basically was telegraphing to everybody that she couldn't wait till these leases were up so that the city could take over and kick these nonprofits out. And I just can't imagine that with all the good that these three nonprofits are doing. And come to find out, the reality there is that there's nobody else, from what I'm told, there's nobody else on the council that would support kicking these three nonprofits to the curb, as apparently, Mayor Sanchez, you prefer. But I just don't think that that was, I don't know, very seemly or very appropriate. I think the city appreciates what the K-9 folks and what Ivy Ranch and what Casa de Amparo do. And I don't know what it is. It seems like you have a history of having it out for Ivy Ranch over many years, based on what you've said in over the years. But nevertheless, I certainly hope that all of the nonprofits that are there can continue to thrive. And I really would wish that somebody could explain to me why the city ignored the request from San Diego Rescue Mission, which operates the navigation center, to please help us with some equipment. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Gordon? How many people do we have for
Off
item
agenda?
27?
9.
Okay, thanks.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. I've got copies of everything that I'm referencing, so if there's someone I could leave them with, reach the council members. I'm here to share my experience and issues related to building an ADU in Oceanside. I was here at the last city council meeting, and I shared that myself and Housing and Community Development of California believe that Oceanside's 2022 ADU ordinance doesn't follow state law. I was informed that wasn't correct, so I'm here to bring the information to point out it is correct. So the 2022 Oceanside ADU ordinance, it runs off of Government Code 65852.2. So everything was done in 2022 and it was correct. 2024, new laws came into place, which made that, all that stuff's old now. So the updated government code is based off of a 66310 through 66342. So the current city ordinance on ADUs is based on old legislation from 2022. The reason that has an issue is in 2022, the state said you could build 2 ADUs. It could be an attached ADU or a detached ADU and a junior ADU. The 2024 law says that you can build an attached ADU, a detached ADU, and a junior ADU, allowing you to do 3 units. So as you can probably guess, it costs a lot of money to get plans made, do engineering, everything to get ready to build an ADU. So I come to the city and ask, what can I build? And I'm told repeatedly, our ordinance is this, you can build 2 units. I then went to Housing and Community Development and said, look, this is what the city's telling me I can build. I said, we're sorry, that's not right. So we'll send them a letter. So Housing and Community Development reached out to City of Oceanside and said, look, you're not following the new law properly. City of Oceanside says our interpretation of the law by our ordinance is different. So I'm stuck right now where Housing and Community Development is telling me I have to submit plans, so I have to pay for plans to be drawn up. Probably I already done it, about $10,000. If Oceanside denies me, then I come back with Housing and Community Development and they do an enforcement action against the city. So right now I'm on the hook for about 10 grand. It should get pushed through, but for every other homeowner who comes into the city and says, what can I build? They're being misinformed on the number of ADUs they're allowed to build on their property. So the big problem with this is that your mom and pop ADU builders, which as a local resident, I would consider that me, I don't have the resources like the large corporate developers do in Oceanside or who build here. They know how to get around these things or to do it right per the law. I have had to utilize the help of HCD, take a huge financial risk, and all of these actions from the city against this are reducing additional housing units to the city. So if someone legally can build 3, they go over to planning and they're told they can build 2. So anyways, so that's my big issue on this one. Every added unit is more supply, lower rent. The second issue is our water buy-in fees are 2.7 times greater than San Diego County. So you've got all of these barriers that are in place that make it harder for a homeowner to add an ADU. And the people who are going to be impacted by this are going to be your single-family homeowners. They own 1 house in the city. They're going to be a local landlord. They want to add units, and they're being misinformed by the building department, and they're not being supported by the city by having lower fees to add these units. So 2 weeks ago, we were here talking about different rent control measures and tenant protection things, which I think some of them were quite good. And if the city wants to have a grade A on protecting tenants, they should also have a grade A on encouraging local residents to develop more housing units. So that's why I'm here. I'm not the only one who's really frustrated about this. I'm still waiting to see if my plans get approved or not. But there's no reason that the city should be running an ordinance off of old code from 2022 when there's new laws in place that supersede it. And if you read on the, Oceanside's housing element, the very first page, it says the housing element law requires California Department of Housing and Community Development to review local housing elements and report its written findings with respect to the housing elements conformance with state law. So you've got HCD telling you guys this doesn't follow the law, and the city's just saying that's our interpretation of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll email this to all of you.
Mr. Borrego?
Honorable Mayor and council members. Honorable Mayor and council members, just to provide an update, we have looked into this gentleman's claims, and I just want to clarify a couple of points. One is, in talking to our development services staff, we do need to update our ordinance to reflect current ADU law. However, we are still bound to adhere to state law, even though our ordinance may need to be updated because state law does supersede our local ordinance. I won't get into the details about this specific claim here in terms of whether 3 or 4 units in total, because it's 3 ADUs in addition to the existing residence. So 4 units total on this property are allowed. I won't get into those details here. But in addition to that, we are looking at the information that was provided regarding the utility hookups to make sure that we are compliant with state law as well. But at the end of the day, I'm confident that what we end up permitting moving forward will be consistent with state law.
Thank you. Item number 27. Now we have 9.
Correct.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started.
Right. Our first speaker is Max Disposti, to be followed by Bob Ashton.
You. Good evening again, Max here. I just come before you as a concerned citizen of what is going on right now out there. Over the past few months alone, LGBT individuals and especially transgender Americans have found themselves under direct attack by this administration. 3 executive orders targeting my community, policy rollbacks, and hostile rhetorics have emboldened discrimination, rollback, hard-fought protection. Like that wasn't enough, this administration is now deporting and incriminating people without due process and is showing no mercy while pursuing their unconstitutional path. Dear Council, for the first time in my 4 years of advocacy, to be honest, I'm actually afraid. Afraid to be picked up in the middle of the night for being a naturalized citizen and in opposition of what's happening. Afraid for our communities broken apart, defunded, divided, and in despair. This administration attempt to ban transgender individuals from serving in the military is a disgrace to Oceanside and a cruel, baseless policy that not only undermines the service of those thousands of brave Americans, but sends a clear message that trans lives are less valued. That our families here in Camp Pendleton can be disposable to their hate. We have also seen attempts to erase LGBT protections in healthcare, housing, and education. We have seen state-level policies targeting trans youth, banning gender-affirming care, and silencing conversation about queer identities in our schools. They have enacted legislations that were never seen in existence in the US, not even before the Stonewall riots. Council, this is really not about politics. It's about people, our neighbors, our friends, our family members. Because when government targets LGBT people and deports people without due process, it legitimizes hate and exclusion, and it makes us all unsafe. So I urge this council to be a voice for inclusion. Take real steps to ensure our city remains a place where every resident, no matter their gender identity or sexual orientation or undocumented status, can be safe, respected, and valued. Do not please surrender to federal threats. Show your support for the Constitution against those that want to bull you into compliance. Whether through resolution of support for transgender military service members, or public education efforts, or a rainbow flag raised at City Hall, hopefully during Pride Month, we can make it clear that hate has not home here in Oceanside. Your voice matters, but so is your silence. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Charlie Bowen, followed by Bob Ashton.
On a video here. We good? Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members. My name is Charlie Bowen. I'm the Communications Director for Save Oceanside Sand. And of late, we've developed a tool for our advocacy efforts to restore Oceanside's beaches and bring back shoreline resiliency in our town. This will be beta test number 2. This is not a final tool. We're just going to show it tonight and see what everybody thinks.
People gathered on the beaches of Oceanside County long before City Hall in 1888. Today, we are a beach town with little beach. The melting pot of our sandy beaches now compresses people from all walks of life onto the small portion that remains. One of the best parks known to man languishes in disrepair and disappears. A huge problem for an iconic beach town that traces its history back to pre-mission times. A man-made problem requiring a man-made solution. Yet the continued failure of government condemns us to the destruction of our beaches. Political will and funding can and will return our beaches to us. But it requires planning, grit, and funding beyond what our city has demonstrated to return the beaches of Oceanside to the people. This is Encinitas and Solana Beach following initial nourishment from an Army Corps project. The project includes renourishment every 5 to 10 years for 50 years. For budgeting purposes only, let's look at the future commitment made by those cities for sand nourishment. Budgeting for future cost share is $4 to $5 million per year, assuming no non-federal funding. That would equate to budgeting $25 to $30 annually per Oceanside resident. Long-term planning, budgeting, and political will show it can be done. Oceanside, where sandy beaches enjoyed by all are gone. The city's greatest resource is rapidly disappearing. A day at the beach is free. The cost of losing the beach is incalculable. Currently, 35,000 children under age 18 cannot use 65% of our beaches. What will you tell your children and grandchildren when the beaches are gone? We fully support the Re-Beach pilot project, but the path to scaling the solution is longer term. Oceanside can and must do more because we are one city with one beach. What is the plan that includes sand for our southern beaches? Let's start with nourishment now. Political will and funding will accomplish the rest. No budget means no beach. Hear us loud and clear. The people want their beach back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Bob Ashton, followed by Jimmy Knott, followed by Penny Russell.
Good evening, city leaders, city staff, Oceanside community. I'm Bob Ashton, President and CEO of Save Oceanside Sand. The video you just observed illustrates the dire condition of our shoreline, which is the worst in decades, but we can do something about it. A man-made problem requires a man-made solution. SOS applauds the work by the city on the Re-Beach pilot project and the planning stages of the Sandag Regional Beach Sand Project, or RBSP3, but the community desires more. SOS fully supports both Re-Beach implementation and the RBSP3 projects. We look forward to working with the city on other projects to restore our beaches. But it is critical to go beyond just the political will to approve projects, but commit the funding to implement them. Due to our work with the city, we now have budget line items for beach restoration in the general budget and shoreline restoration line items in Measure X funding. Thank you for creating these budget line items. Recent Sandag study shows that an 8-to-1 return on investment is a good number for beach restoration projects. But regarding the fiscal year 25-26 budget, SOS advocates for allocating $5 million this year with recurring year allocations of $4 million minimum. But this is only a start to build a foundation for the more than $20 million required for supporting cost share for projects and or funding projects outright. The current budget, if approved, would have a balance of $2.8 million for beach restoration, which is woefully inadequate. Examples of two beach projects are Re-Beach and RBSP3. With $55 million in projected Re-Beach implementation costs, the city would require a cost share of $9 million. For RBSP3, it looks to be about $26 million for city costs, which require a cost share of about $4 million. These costs could be more based on the ability to secure non-federal funding. SOS and other community members will be participating in next week's budget workshop, and I encourage you to show up and support increased funding for Oceanside beach restoration projects and increased shoreline management capacity. Our whole community deserves a beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy Knott, followed by Penny Russell.
Mayor, council members, another report from our hypocrite in chief here in the United States. And that is what's going to affect a lot of our seniors and low-income folks here in Oceanside, that it's going to be up to our city who once again rescue. And that is with the question on to indebtedness because of our student loans. What happens is that student loans originally is like a tariff. It's like taken out as a loan to help out our businesses, our nonprofits, our governments, our communities. And it's borne by the students. And what happens is that the communities and those businesses don't pay the actual cost. But what happens is that this indebtedness is borne by that student. Now, our hypocrite in chief, who is well known for skirting paying back loans, is going to demand payment. And if your student does not pay back that immediately, they're going to attach their Social Security, their retirement benefits, and they're going to cut assistance programs. And so what's going to happen is these people are going to have somewhere else to go to. And where else? Where are they going to go to? Our local communities. And so what happens is for those people who have student loans, they'll be knocking on our city's doors. And are we prepared to take and help those people because of the hypocrite in chief has put on your table that burden? I think that we should start, as I said before, a ledger sheet and start telling our legislators, this is what our hypocrite in chief is costing the city of Oceanside. Thank you.
Thank you. Penny Russell, followed by Daniel Brunton.
I need new glasses. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council, and staff. At the last council meeting on April 9th, a request for that a new manufactured home residents are notified of their protection, including rent control under 16B, and a signed receipt is kept on file with their agreements, was voted on as and approved at our last meeting. So I'm Penny, and I'm also a co-chair for an organization called OMA, which is the Oceanside Manufactured Homeowners Alliance. And we took it upon ourselves when we heard Eric say that we're going to write this for you, at least all the points that we feel are really important to our mobile home community. So what you're looking at here is the first draft from OMA on the issues that we feel are really important to educate new homeowners that come in that have no idea that mobile home living is quite different from stick-built and single-family dwelling. And we have all these laws and rules, and a lot are being broken by our park managers, and that's partly because some of the people that own these parks, it's okay, and the other is knowledge. Our park managers need to be educated as well, and we feel that knowing some of these issues and bringing attention to that will help them do that. So we're hoping by doing this that we can get this out quickly. And the city, obviously, I sent copies to the council and also to Fair Practices and to Mr. Borrego so that they can look it over and see what passes, what doesn't. But we're hoping to get this very quickly through. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Daniel Brunton, followed by Alex DeGood. Followed by Clifton Williams.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Daniel Brunson. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Latham and Watkins, representing neighborhoods are for neighbors. We learned recently that from Coastal Commission staff that the city withdrew its application for the Coastal Commission's approval of its short-term rental ordinance. This was alarming to our community because hundreds of our members and community members sent emails, signed petitions, or spoke at public hearings asking for reasonable restrictions on short-term rentals. Thousands of hours were spent by hundreds of people last year on short-term rentals as the people of Oceanside rose up against corporate-owned party houses and mini hotels in residential neighborhoods. Our proposal was to prohibit corporate ownership entirely, limit short-term rentals to 90 days a year, and require that an owner live in the home a year before they could rent it. These are similar to provisions that the Coastal Commission has approved up and down the coast, including in the city of San Diego. In the end, the City Council fashioned a compromise. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't what we proposed, but neighborhoods are for neighbors found it acceptable, and the City Council passed it 4-1 on May 8, 2024, with a lone vote against it wanting more restrictions on short-term rentals. We now understand that the city has withdrawn its local coastal program amendment for the short-term rental ordinance to keep it separate and distinct from other amendments the city has pending, and to provide additional information requested from the Coastal Commission. We come to you today to ask that you and your staff vigorously advocate for the compromise that this City Council crafted and approved. It's very important to my client and the Oceanside community that the Coastal Commission respect this City Council's decision, the compromise that you crafted. The Coastal Commission has approved short-term rental restrictions all up and down the coast, including the city of San Diego. And the Coastal Commission has approved much more stringent restrictions than what Oceanside approved last year. Why should people in La Jolla have the right to stop their neighborhoods from being overrun with corporate-owned mini hotels and party houses, but not the people of Oceanside? The answer is clear. The people of Oceanside have the same right to protect their neighborhoods as other cities. That is why we're here today to ask the City Council, finish the job that you started with the good ordinance and the compromise that you crafted.
Thank you. Alex DeGood, followed by Clifton Williams.
Hi, good evening. My name's Alex DeGood with the law firm of Cox Cable and Nicholson. I'm litigation counsel for Vistabella Investments, which is the applicant for the 503 Vistabella project that was actually on your agenda tonight, item 25. You know, I said that says communications from the public regarding items not on the agenda, and here I speak, but that's not correct because we were on the agenda tonight, but you decided to refuse to hear public comment on the agenda item, refused to hear from my client or anyone else, and continued the item. The problem with that is that state law under the Housing Accountability Act is very clear. The city has to make a decision on a project in 5 hearings. And tonight's hearing that you decided to continue, although I'll encourage you to reverse that decision and hear from us tonight, is the 5th hearing. And state law is clear that a continued hearing is the 5th hearing. It says right in the statute, a hearing, if the body as city council continues a hearing subject to this section to another date, the continued hearing shall count as one of the 5 hearings permitted under this section. The city also requires community meetings in which in our case, in which the city planning staff actively participate. Those count as hearings too, under the act. And yet the city has rejected what state law clearly says, and thinks it can just continue us to another hearing. It can't. So I'm going to encourage you again to do what your agenda said you were going to do, which is actually hear the agendized item, hear from the applicant team, and approve this project, which you're also required to do under the Housing Accountability Act because it's a zoning consistent project. And the city doesn't have discretion to deny it. You know, I found it very interesting, the discussion earlier about the ADU, and the city manager spoke and seemed to indicate that the city was dutifully trying to keep up with state housing law and follow state housing law, and acknowledge that your code might not quite be consistent with state housing law right now on ADUs, but yet the city would follow state housing regardless of what your code said. Yet here tonight, the city is violating state housing law. Here tonight, the city is continuing a hearing in violation of state housing law. That constitutes a denial under the Housing Accountability Act, and I'm going to encourage again City Council to hear the project tonight, because otherwise my client is going to be forced to consider litigation to enforce its rights under state housing law, which will result in an approved project. And what it will further result in is attorney's fees being awarded to my client and likely fines being imposed against the city for its flagrant violation and knowing violation of state housing law. So I encourage council to not continue the public hearing that was agendized. I encourage you to hear the project, and I encourage you to approve the project as you're required to do under state housing law. Thank you.
Thank you. Clifton Williams.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. I'm Cliff Williams. I'm a land use analyst with the law firm of Latham & Watkins, representing Neighborhoods Are for Neighbors. Again, we were somewhat alarmed by the LCP amendment for the STR ordinance being withdrawn, and we are a little unnerved just because we heard it from Coastal Commission staff and not from your staff. And we want to make sure that the lines of communication between our group and your staff are very open. And I did have a very productive meeting with Darlene Nicandro today. She explained the situation, and we believe that your staff is moving forward to vigorously advocate for that ordinance that you passed in May of last year. We understand the Coastal Commission has asked for some additional information about the short-term rental issue. And we know the Coastal Commission is particularly concerned with the preserving low-cost options for people coming to the beach. But it's really clear that a $5,000 a night short-term rental is not a low-cost option. We know that corporate ownership of the beachfront is not in keeping with the Coastal Act. And remember, when the city actually looked at this and you looked at your inventory of hotels and short-term rentals for visitor accommodation, found that 60% of your visitor accommodations were short-term rentals. That's double and even triple the rate of other similar beach cities in Southern California. And that's why the City Council approved the cap on STRs. Remember that one corporate owner owns 77 homes in Oceanside's coastal zone with over 250 rooms. That's more than the Seabird or the Mission Pacific. And if Marriott or Hilton was buying up neighborhoods, I know that the city wouldn't stand for it. And that's why the cap is so important. So we really ask you to vigorously enforce that. City's done an amazing job. As somebody who grew up here in San Diego, you guys have done an amazing job diversifying your visitor options here. Not only that, you've made Oceanside really the coolest beach town in San Diego County. You know, whether you're thrifting at Sea Hive or doing yoga at Black Sheep, Oceanside has become the cool place because it's authentic. And that authenticity comes from its people and the residents who are still able to live in that coastal zone and haven't been just, switched out for visitors. So we encourage you to really stay with that cap, vigorously advocate for what you decided in the compromise you came to back in May, so that people can live here, keep that authenticity, keep that cool spirit that Oceanside is. So thank you very much.
Thank you. So at the end, general council member comments. Councilmember Robinson.
There I am. Thank you. Just a couple quick things that happened over the last couple weeks. On the 10th, I and the mayor also was at the honor wall dedication at the Veterans Association in North County and ribbon cutting. And one thing I should have mentioned to our city manager, I met with him, is one thing that was missing was a plaque from the city to recognize our veterans. So I would encourage us to look into that if we could, sir. Also attended a Cal Cities virtual meeting, and then on the 16th, we had our Planning Commission workshop where we selected 2 members. And then on the 17th, I went to with other city staff to management, it's called Management 312, a senior officials workshop for all hazard emergencies. So that was very informative and kind of, after our little earthquake, kind of got me back in the mindset of personal preparation, which we should all have. And I do want to share a couple events. There he is. Jack's going to put a couple things up for you coming up. Saturday, April 26th, it's National Prescription Drug Take Back Day, and there are some information there, and we'll leave those in the back in case anybody wants to take them or scan the QR code. But it's about turning in unused prescription medications, and those tend to collect in people's homes, and they really do need to dispose of them and properly dispose of them by taking them to one of these sites. And if you have pet medication, you can also take pet medication. The other event I just want to share with everybody, and is going to be on May 9th from 9:30 to 11 at our El Corazon Senior Center. It's a senior scam stopper summit. This is done by Assemblywoman Lori Davies and our District Attorney Summer Steffen, and Jordan Marks, our County Assessor, is sponsoring this event. It's open to anybody who wants to attend. It's a free event, and I've been to one already, and it really gives you the basics for how to, as a senior, to avoid those scams, those calls that can get you to give up your money and other ID and stuff. So I would encourage people to go to that. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Figueroa?
Thank you, Mayor. So since our last meeting, well, I know we didn't get the opportunity to do reports at our last meeting, so I did attend the Police and Fire Commission, as well as the Community Relations Commission and the Parks and Recs Commission prior to our last council meeting. I also had the opportunity to go to a Sunday practice at Melba Bishop for Oceanside's Finest program that Measure X helps support. I was asked by the coaches to come and speak to the youth and the parents a little bit about my journey growing up in Oceanside, growing up playing basketball. The cool thing is I got to see some of my former teammates there with their kids, a lot of my former childhood friends there with their kids, and the gym was packed. To see the program that they're operating there. I remember taking my daughter there just once or twice for like 2 years ago, and to see how the program is operating today. I mean, there isn't enough space there anymore. They've outgrown that space. It's amazing to see the program that they're running out of there with Oceanside's Finest. This week I had the opportunity where I attended the Humanity Showers in the City of Oceanside along with Vista Community Clinic, and I think other nonprofit providers, hosted the first mobile shower in District 3 at the Salvation Army. They're close to the ERF project site off Lake Boulevard, Plaza Drive, College Boulevard. And it was really good to see how many folks were serviced that day. And then we got the opportunity to walk the encampment behind the Hobby Lobby with a regional task force on homelessness and talk to some of our houseless community members about some of the services and resources that they need. And got to visit the site this past week where Humanity Showers was, C4C Ministries, City of Oceanside, I believe outreach workers from the Rescue Mission were there. And just to hear the amazing response from the grassroots, nonprofit, and city staff of how our ERF project is going. Over 70 houseless community members have been contacted by name list. Several of those folks have already been housed. And then there's a cleanup taking place tomorrow with waste management and volunteers to help clean up that encampment site. So the amazing work that the grassroots organizations, nonprofit organizations, our city staff are taking the leadership on this project is very encouraging. I also had the opportunity to attend the LGBTQ Resource Center ribbon cutting towards the end of it, to see all the community members there, our city leaders, and I got to see the youth room that they have and some of the other rooms. So really excited about that, and I know that we have our grand opening for the Safe Parking Lot program this Tuesday at that site. So very much looking forward to that. So those are my reports.
Deputy Mayor Joyce?
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize because there are quite a few things on here, and so I'll try and be brief, but I attended on 4/18 the North County Transit District, and it was the board retreat, but that just means it was a really long meeting about everything that's going on with North County Transit District. We did a full review of services. We have a couple of new members, and just bringing everybody up to speed on what NCTD does, the future of NCTD, and how the federal funding and changes of what's going on at the federal level really have an impact, and some of it that doesn't have an impact. Some exciting updates is that we're bringing all of the bus drivers for NCTD in-house. So they were contractors, and now they're going to be brought on board and they're going to wear the NCTD shirts. They're going to be part of the team, and all of the wonderful things that go along with bringing people in-house and being fully tracked members of NCTD. We talked long about the priority for NCTD's future capital improvements, and that's really the double tracking of the Sprinter train and getting the services from here to Escondido double tracked so that not only we can potentially be using that to support military routes, but also making that route faster and more accessible to everyone that uses it on a regular basis. We are also doing a full review of the bus routes in the system, and this is a clean review where we look from base and wipe them off the map and talk about what it would look like to rebuild the bus routes from scratch. That hasn't been done in a very long time, and so that's going to be a multi-year task at hand. On the 21st, I attended the Harbor and Beaches Commission report, and there were some big changes coming to the harbor. There's going to be flat rates for water and electricity charged for every slip holder. That is a big update, and I was proud to see the Harbor and Beaches Commission take that on without blinking. That's part of the Brady report, which is paying for the long-term maintenance of the harbor. And so they understood it was coming, and this was instead of doing individual metering within the harbor, because that would have cost a ton to have the new system go into place. So they're going to do flat rates across the slips, depending on the size and whether it's liveaboard and a couple other factors, but they accepted that. There are hundreds still on the waiting list for slips. The dredging in the harbor is paused for now. And then, that was paused. The dredging out of the harbor that's putting sand on our beaches, it is now resumed. And they're looking to complete the dredging around April 30th, potentially. Then last night, the Housing Commission happened, and they had wonderful updates, including what was referenced just now by Councilmember Figueroa, the encampment resolution funding and the work that they are doing with our grassroots organizations supported by our workshop is nothing short of amazing. It is exactly what we were wanting it to be. And I know everyone in the ecosphere of support services is excited about what's happening there. It's been a long time coming, and they've been asking for a long time. So they're very thankful for that. They were thankful for our moving forward on the actions of the TPO, which the Housing Commission completely supported. This morning was the Downtown Advisory Committee, and they looked at multiple developments, but two major ones. The development at 401 Mission, which is the Regal Cinemas, and 801 Mission, which is a property adjacent to Seagaze and adjacent to 901 Mission, which is another development, which is adjacent to Oceanside High School. So just putting you in the space of where that's at. Over 500 housing units between these two. Obviously, the Regal Cinemas redevelopment is a huge deal. The concerns that were brought up by the committee this morning included the backside of the building not being activated fully and recognizing there's more development supposed to be put in behind it. The loss of setbacks on a viewpoint because the building on the most eastern side is going to be coming a lot closer, so seeing down the area. Generally, just the amount of of units that are going to be there, the 7 stories. And then I put a big star by this one because I heard it from several members of the public and the committee, the plaza space being changed in the planning that's coming forward. So I would just recommend that you guys check out that DAC meeting because it was an interesting conversation. And that, of course, will be coming to council at some point. And then the last item that I wanted to bring up was something that threatens not just our values, but our safety, our economy, and the very fabric of our community. And that's the Trump administration's pattern of ignoring due process by allowing federal agencies to label people terrorists and to jail them in foreign prisons without evidence, without hearings, and without a chance to even defend themselves in court. Now, a government agency, not a court, deciding who is dangerous based on vague criteria, bad intel, or even bias, no trial, no defense, just administrative black bags, and destroying lives. If the human cost of public safety is not enough, there's also economic cost. Oceanside is a coastal gem, a place where international tourists come to our beaches for our local flavor and our diversity, but the countries around the world are issuing travel bans, including Canada and Germany, warnings that traveling to America is not safe, and that people are targeted without cause or due process. And that's a loss of business. It's a loss of small business support. It could hit our restaurants, our TOT income, our shops, our small businesses around the city. It's a loss of jobs, and it could be a big blow to our economy beyond just the human cost. We don't protect public safety by throwing away the Constitution. We protect it by upholding justice for everyone. And with that, I'll conclude my report.
Thank you. I also owe an extra some extra reports here, so let me get started and I'll try to run through these quickly. First of all, on March 15th, I attended the reopening of the Fairwinds Kitchen and Bar at the Arrowwood Golf Course. Tom Sun, who is the owner, contributed $10,000 for our youth, and we got the check this week, right? We got the check this week. So what I'm going to suggest is that we give this to the Youth Commission to decide how best to spend it as one of their first things that they get to do. So I'm very, very excited that we were able to get this check. On March 20th, I attended the Oceanside Elks Scholarship Dinner and Awards. They gave out that night $15,000. They actually raised a lot of money for scholarships. Oceanside Elks continues to be a really great partner within the community. On March 25th, I attended the ribbon cutting at John Landis, the skate park at John Landis, and that was really, really fantastic. For me, especially, been working along several years to get us to transition from the closure of John Landis Park to the community, to reopen it to the community, and terminate the contact that we had with Miracosta. So that is fantastic. The youth, having folks, international athletes coming to show and mix with the youth was really, really exciting. On March 27th, I attended, along with all the other council members, the Meet the City with the Chamber of Commerce. On the 28th, I attended the Oceanside Fire Department's and Vista Fire Department Joint Fire 101. Chief, great event. And we got to see them training and doing kind of live stuff. And a few people donned some of the equipment. I believe you did, right, Deputy Mayor? Yeah. March 29th, attended the Vietnam Veterans Ceremony at Vance, the Veterans Association of North County. I don't believe I've ever missed one of those. It's very, very, for me, when I was in high school, I had neighbors who had gone to Vietnam. One neighbor went 3 tours. On April 3rd, I attended the Sandag Shoreline Preservation Working Group meeting. where the City of Oceanside did a presentation. On the 3rd also, I attended the Manufactured Home Fair Practices Commission meeting. On the 6th, I attended the Oceanside Yacht Club opening ceremonies. They do so much for our community in terms of water safety, fundraisers, they just do so much. April 7th, I met with staff, with the Army Corps of Engineers regarding the flood control project. I really hope that we can get a briefing or actually a presentation for the council members and the community. This is really stepping up. The LA staff of the Army Corps are meeting 2, sometimes 3 times a week, and they're really just, narrowing in on the dates of when and this is being done section by section in terms of turning it over to the city. On the 7th, I attended the Arts Commission as the liaison. They have agreed to $75,000 grant which will be matched by the Arts Cultural District, $75,000, so $150,000 in grant money. I believe it will be open early next month and will end, I believe, by September 1st. April 10th, there was a ribbon cutting, and Councilmember Robinson mentioned it, a memorial wall advanced. This was a long time coming, and it was really exciting to see that it finally happened. And I think, a plaque that represents our city employees who served would be wonderful. On the 19th of April, the annual Easter egg hunts happened. I went to the one over at Eastside. I don't know if you caught it, Charlie, but there were a ton of kids, and if you blink, all the eggs are gone. Right? You miss it, but. Yeah. April 22nd was the Palomar District Federation of Women's Clubs for North County, and I was asked to speak there. It was pretty phenomenal to be in a room full of women who are all fighting for women's rights. And the club, again, from City of Oceanside, started here in 1915. Tomorrow there's a Home Goods grand opening. Yeah, I hear that's the former bed and bath place for you all. I did attend several meetings of SANDAG board and executive board meetings, also transportation committee meetings and the airport authority. One really critical thing is that we met with Mario Orso, who was executive director, CEO of SANDAG, to discuss Oceanside projects and how they can best be positioned to get to be approved for grants. So that's something that we're really excited about. And I did attend the Harbor and Beaches Advisory Committee, where there's a couple of members that I'm working with on public safety issues. And the SANDAG retreat is actually on May 1st to 2nd on my birthday. So, and also the National Day of Prayer is on May 1st on my birthday. And a fundraiser for KOCT, May 1st. So you all going to be celebrating my birthday with me, all right? And finally, I would like to adjourn in honor of Pope Francis, a world leader who cared so much about the poor. He was from Argentina, so the first Latino Pope, that he loved hugging children. He really pushed the envelope. He changed, of course, he didn't do as much as maybe some people would have liked, but he did do a lot. So I will be adjourning this meeting to the next meeting, which is May 7th of the City Council. And if you would please stand. Okay, I was just reminded that April 30th is actually a budget hearing, and that's at 5:30. So 5:30 on April 30th, and then May 7th, 5 o'clock for a city council meeting. Thank you. Good evening.